So I've had a fair few comments of people asking me, could I make a Concavonator enclosure? Now, some of them have been on Community Park and been on various other videos, so I feel like Concavonator must be pretty popular in Jurassic World Evolution, especially at the moment anyways. So I'm going to make an enclosure for it. Now, they're pretty much a coastal creature from what I've read and people have told me, so we're going to try and make a coastal, like, I kind of make an island, but at the same time I'm like, do I want to make another island? I'm trying to think, do we make an oasis around this bit? Like a cove even, should I say, not oasis? We'll fill it with water anyway and we'll go from there. Like a lot of times, sometimes when I make these enclosures, I just sort of, I'll either get a reference or a few references so I have an idea of what I want to do. And then other times I just sort of like, well, I know what it kind of looks like and I kind of know what I want to go for. So I'll just sort of do that. Anyway, so what I think I might do, so when I did the marsh enclosure for, God, what was it? I'm trying to think. I made a marsh enclosure a good while ago and I had it sort of breaching out from the gate, so then obviously any keepers that need to get in here can get on the island without needing a swim or an underwater tunnel kind of thing. And I'll do it kind of like that. I don't want to do like, so it's just sort of water around it kind of thing. And then we'll just do the sand. So put that down to, actually we'll raise it a bit so it looks like there's a bit of like a sand dune sort of feel to it ish. Should probably put more contour lines on so I know how. Like, that's massive, so we'll do it from there. There we go. We don't want like a slight raise, we don't want like a massive raise from what we're doing here. Because you have like a massive raise, it looks a bit weird. We'll flatten some bits out, like this bit here will flatten to here like that. That'll be quite a big sandy beach area. Do it like here, so it's a bit like a cove. Where else shall we? Well, some at the viewing point, so we'll put a meat feeder there as well. And we'll gently raise up some of the ground. Just add like just some different heights and things like this. We'll lower this. Actually, what have I done? What have I done here? Right, flatten that bit out there. We'll do it like this. Get a rough idea anyways. Right, and then sand. We'll fill out these covey bits. We'll only have it gently trying to get slightly up on this ridgy bit here, because we don't want it like too high into the main bit, but we can always like layer it up with different types of terrain. Doesn't matter too much if the sand's like quite deep out into the water. Makes it look more beach shallow sort of vibe, because obviously when you go to the beach it's not just a sudden drop into the darkness, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And I think I'll use rock instead of using the dirt under the wall. Dirty grass, what is it called? Has it got a name? It's just called dirt, isn't it? Yeah, I was like looking in the wrong place. I've been playing too many different games recently, so when I come on I'm getting everything mixed up in my head. So yeah, you want that kind of like going into the water there, so then it doesn't look like it's a sudden drop. And that's how, like, I get a lot of questions asking how I make it so it looks like the water's deeper, and it's legit just that. You have sand here which is bright, which makes it look like it's shallow, and then your darker terrain tool there which then makes it look like it's deeper. So yeah, you have that kind of vibe. The question is now I'll do rock around the outside. I don't want all sandy beach, so I always find this texture a bit too much for using flat ground. This is better for like you raised up bits, whereas when flat ground I find this rock and tropical a bit more eye pleasing. So we'll just go around the outside of that dead quick, and again it's adding to that deepness look, so it's even darker than the dirt, so you have quite a deep sort of look. And you know, just push it out into the sand a bit, try and get rid of some of the dirt I'm leaving behind, because I kind of do prefer this. I'll probably zoom, like when I edit this I'll probably zoom through this a little bit. Right, there we go. So you see how like it looks sort of deeper here, and then you want like not to, you still want that sort of nice like drop look, so it doesn't go straight to a drop, it sort of goes down into the drop. And we've got ourselves a pretty nice looking island. I'll probably add some rocks to this as well, just to add a little bit of height and depth. And we'll keep it tropical, keep it sweet, keep it nice. So it is like a little, we're basically doing a tropical island here, just with a way for our keepers to get onto it. Even though it's sandbox, you don't need them, so it's still a nice little feature that you add into there. Bit of storytelling for yourself, as it were. So yeah, we'll add it like that. We don't too much, I don't think. Right, so like I was saying about texture, just sort of like I like using the dirt ones. It kind of mixes quite well on this edge from the green to the sand, and you're just lightly tapping it. Same if you're using controller. Right now I'm using mouse and keyboard. You probably can hear that because I only have like a cheap £25 mic at the moment. I've tried making it sound as best as I can in OBS, so when I use it, it's not too terrible. But we'll see how it goes. I've done too much there. Just try and bring it back a little bit, the sand. But it just adds like a nice texture to a point where it's like it's not going from sand to green like this dirt, because obviously you're going on a hill that's been trodden on. The grass isn't going to grow too perfectly on this edge with all the salt from the sand and the water that'll be going into it. So again, you just add in that storytelling, and it does add, like, with this game, a lot of imagination does help, because obviously storytelling is a big part of it. You're only really going to get out of this game what you put into this game, in a sense. Like, it is great fun. I've been playing this and the first one for years, and Jurassic Park, Operation Genesis, and things like this. And just look at that. Like, it already adds to that sort of texture. It's not just sand to like grass. It actually looks somewhat decent. Right, so we'll put ourselves our meat feeder here, so then they are attracted to go into this. And it's, do I have it in line with, yeah, let's have it in line with the viewing station, and a bit of a, there we go, let's have it, it's about in line, in it, probably that way a bit more, there we go. Probably just mess it up. And then we'll put a goat feeder slightly out of sight. There we go. And then anyways, we'll add a few rocks. Now, notoriously, I had way too many rocks. I get a few comments here and there like, why is it so much rocks? And honestly, I do like adding a lot of rocks, mainly for when I take my screenshots, because it just adds like another layer to that photo, that there's something there, especially in the background and when you've lined everything up perfectly. Obviously we're on a tropical island here, so we're going to use the tropical rocks. And I always try and do this sort of like system where it's a big rock and then a few small rocks, so it looks like it's crumbled over time, and that's broken down and fallen that way through erosion and things like this. And then occasionally I do add just a small rock here and there on its own. I say rocks, these are more like boulders than anything. And again, it just adds like decoration. If you want to add a bit of storytelling to it, the rocks are there for mineral licking. So obviously if the creature doesn't feel like it's got enough minerals in its diet, it'll probably find any kind of rock and sort of give it a lick to gain the minerals from it. And again, yeah, it's only certain rocks, it's not all rocks, and I don't advise going around licking rocks. It's not tasty from what I can imagine, unless it's a salty one, but then you just go and get some salt. Don't be licking rocks. You don't know what's been on them, unless you've washed them, I suppose. But depends as well on the rock. It could be have some element in it that's not very good for us. But again, yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. In this storytelling, like a lot of time when I say like I want a salt lick rock, I tend to use this desert rock like this. Like, so it kind of looks like your salt rocks that you can get from the shops and what you can like give to your horses and various other animals. So we'll add that there. That's our salt rock. That's the one for the licking. These are the ones for showing. Even though they don't actually do that in the game. Like you can, like I said, it's all about storytelling in your head that adds to the game. So we're just going to texture up around the rocks ever so slightly. I don't want to take too much from the greenery. And it just again just sort of fleshes it out a little bit more than just that's a rock. I'll add the big rock skin there, and then on these little rocks have the lesser ones, and it just adds like a little bit like shadowing to the rocks as well. So makes them stand out a little bit, adds a bit more flesh to the environment. We'll thicken it up a bit, and then we'll go around it with grass. There we go. Again, use a lighter rock. Am I going to add rocks? No, I might just leave it. I'll leave that as it is. I don't want to get massively invested into a massive rock work that's going to take away from the island. I mean, it's already done its job sort of thing. I suppose we could add a little bit of greenery here and there. No, we'll use this one. A bit of dirt. No, too tiger. No, we'll just do it like little bits. I suppose we can add a few bushes here and there as well on here, just to like make it look like it hasn't been completely completely chopped down, and it's just sort of there, part of the not the look, but in the sense of keeper's going to struggle to reach over here. So I'll add a bit of greenery here and there. Did I add anything? Or a little bit of grass. So yeah, there we go. Nearly done. Right. Probably a little bit over it as well. And then the question is, do we want to add any more trees? We're going for that tropical kind of look, so I do like adding a few of the Malta palm trees. I think the foxtail trees, looking at them. There we go. Just like adds more depth to it as well. So obviously the brush gives you a fair bit, but then it's also nice having some like variant, because obviously you're used to looking at this sort of, if you play tropical maps a lot, you're kind of used to that brush. So it's just nice to have a little bit of standout, something a bit different. You don't want too crazy with it, because obviously you want to make it over like a small island like this. You don't want a massive forest on it. So with my right control space, I'm so used to playing this on console for like how many years, and then jump back onto playing it on PC. Is was a little bit of a learning curve. Like on Xbox, when you're placing down buildings, for example, you can just keep, well, console in general, you can just keep planting buildings down and go, on this you have to click a button to keep it, so if you want to plant another one down, etc, etc. So yeah, that's something I had to learn, and I still keep forgetting. Right, so I'll add a few more of these knocking around. So it is kind of, it fits in the rest of the trees, but it's something different and looks kind of cool. Like, I really do like them. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a fox fern tree. Not fern tree, fox palm tree. Okay, it looks kind of cool. Either that, I'm completely mistaken. But we'll go with that for now anyways. Now, we have a lot of banana trees in there, so do I want anything else in here? So it looks similar. I do like using this because it does add like a lot of brush, but I don't want to do a mangrove, and I always use this tree and this trio for mangrove builds. But I think I'm pretty happy with that. Like, it's nice. I mean, I could go around adding rocks to the beaches, but then again I'd be adding way too many rocks again, and it's just a nice coastal vibe. So we'll go and add our Concavonator to it. So our Concavonator are now in the enclosure, and if you're wondering how I get my pan shots on this, I don't use a mouse and keyboard for it. I only use that for the building, and I just then go and plug in my controller, which then I can then go and do these nice like little panning shots and do weird angles like this, and it's a lot easier with a controller to do this than it is with a mouse and keyboard. But anyway, so I put 3 random skins in, and I absolutely love the look of them. Like, Concavonator, absolutely amazing. They're definitely my second favourite in the Cretaceous Predator pack. Like, my favourite one, I don't know, it's nearly, like, I quite like the really white and grey skin ones. They kind of look really cool. And the bright coloured ones also look pretty decent, especially on the face, but body shape, the way they move, and how aggressive they are at hunting as well is pretty something really interesting. But you see what I mean, like when you sort of like get the rocks in the background, it adds like a layer to it. Now, I don't know if you're in the right position for this. And this is also one of my favourite things that got added to the game. In fact, you could change like the daylight setting of thing. I kind of wish it was more Like, I mean, I do love the fact that you can change it like that, but I wish there was an extra setting where you could change the lighting. So sometimes, like then, I'd quite like that sort of screenshot, but it doesn't matter if it's in default or midday, it still hasn't got the right lighting on the side that I want it to be, which it's oh well. But it'd be kind of cool in the next game if they add it so you can change the angle of lighting. That's one of my favourite things in Prehistoric Kingdom, is that you can change the angle of lighting. Oh, you look cool, like nice and plain almost, kind of like camouflaging in. But again, let me guess. Not on the right kind of lighting, but nevertheless, that's a really cool skin. Like, maybe a bit lower? Bit more lower, or am I too far in aggressor? I'll go and get a bit high again. See, it's what when I'm taking screenshots and things, it actually takes me a while because I'm like trying to get the animals in the right place. I don't use mods yet. I do plan to fettle around with adding some new creatures and things like this, but that's something that the pipeline. Eventually I will get around to using other mods and things like this where you can place the creatures down into perfect photos. I know there's a few people that do that, and they get some really cool shots out of it, but I'm not brave enough to use it yet. But yeah, it's just nice to get those kind of like angled shots. So this one you could probably do a mouse, but it will look a bit janky. On control, it's just sort of like the way you can just sort of spin the camera and turn at the same time. Like you probably could do it on keyboard if you put all these settings and sensitivities down. I always find it look really janky. So when I'm doing these kind of like shots, it's just easier to do it with the controller. So basically that's how I'd make an enclosure for the Concavonator. I'd have it island, sort of coastal looking, and it's just nice, and they definitely fit the look. And you could probably mix a few other creatures in there with it that it's not going to kill. We should actually check that now, because you could probably make this into a nice looking little ecosystem. Who are you friendly with? So you could have it with a few different scavengers. Probably wouldn't recommend putting a herbivore in there, so it'd probably get eaten. And definitely don't put any other carnivores or Ferrocenosauruses in there. So it'd be kind of cool, like you had like a load of compies that'll have a nice little island theme to it as well, especially with the beaches and things like that, giving you those Lost World sort of vibes. So yeah, anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this and it's given you a little inspiration. And as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.